To get started, people in America are regularly surveyed about their fears. And the number one thing that comes out as being the thing that most people are afraid of after the death of a loved one is public speaking. Now, death, your own death, is number 4 on that list. And that means that if you are ever giving a eulogy at a funeral, I can guarantee that everybody in the congregation would rather be in the coffin than where you're standing. So, as I said, I am delighted to be here to talk to you about public speaking today, and morbid funeral puns aside, I hope it's going to be a really interesting and entertaining evening for you. So I would really like to take this opportunity to debunk some of the myths about public speaking and hopefully inspire you enough to give it a go for yourself. So I graduated from this university in 2013, was a linguistics graduate, and being a complete language nerd, when I was preparing this presentation, the first thing that I did was I went to the Oxford English Dictionary and I looked up the definition of public. And it gave me the definition as being something that's open to the general public, open to lots of different people, making something accessible, shall we say. And then I looked at the definition of speaking, and it gave me the definition of speaking as being sharing your thoughts by words. So when you speak publicly, you are sharing the thoughts in your head with lots of different people. You're making that accessible. And there's a world of difference. I'm sure who here has experienced the difference between a really inspiring TED Talk and the worst lecture you've ever had? Hands up, right, okay, good. I'm not quite on a par with those speakers, but I really hope that I'm going to be more interesting than economic theory on a Monday morning. So, we'll move swiftly on. The one thing that I want you to walk away from tonight remembering is that public speaking is not about you. It's not about me. It's not about the speaker, okay? Public speaking is about you guys. It's about the audience. It's about the feeling that you walk away with at the end of tonight. So, Maya Angelou said it best. She said, people will forget what you said, and they will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So with that in mind, I'm going to get started on the myths that surround public speaking. Myth number 1. Public speaking is something that you inherit as a talent. Has anyone here ever caught themselves thinking that public speaking is an ability that you're born with? Yeah, a couple of hands. Okay, thank you, gentlemen in the back. All right, so public speaking. It's one of these things that I think a lot of people take for granted as being, you're either a confident speaker or you're not. But there are a few things about that. So has anyone here heard of Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor? Okay, so she did a really amazing TEDx talk or TED talk I should say, back in 2008. 15 million hits on YouTube. And she was speaking about what she called my stroke of insight. She was talking about her experience as a neuroanatomist. And she was speaking about what it was like to experience and study her own stroke. Now, she is a self-professed, incredibly shy person. She practiced and practiced, and her beautiful intersection of science and spirituality was what touched all different hearts in the audience. And Jill Bolt Taylor, watching that, there were a few things that came out of that I realized in her talk made all the difference. So there are 3 things that you need to be able to do in order to speak publicly. Okay, and the first of those things is you need to be an expert in your subject matter. You need to have that internal mastery. You need to be able to deliver from a place of confidence. If you know what you're talking about, you're halfway there. And the second thing to do, and this, my dad has the saying, he's also a really good public speaker, and he would say that perfect practice makes perfect. Now, does anyone know what the difference is between the regular phrase of practice makes perfect and perfect practice? What's the difference?
Practice perfectly every time.
Absolutely. Practice only counts if you do it perfectly every time. Thank you very much. Practice makes perfect is a lie, because practice might contain all kinds of mistakes. It might contain all sorts of errors and slip-ups. It's only the perfect practice that counts. And Aristotle nailed it on the head when he said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. please do practice your public speaking before you go viral with it. And the last point, and everyone, I know every single person in this room can do this, because so far none of you have dropped dead, and that's breathe. If you can breathe, you can become confident, you can become calm. If you ever ask Olympic athletes, how did you feel before an event? They're going to tell you they were excited. They're going to tell you that they were ready to go. They were so ready, so excited to get going. The body's reaction to nervousness and excitement are the same thing. You know, you have a hot day, getting all ready, heart's beating, slightly dry mouth, bit shaky, feel like you might want to throw up on your own shoes, okay? Well, maybe that's just my dates, I don't know, maybe you're going out with the right kind of people, but the body has the same reaction to nervousness and to excitement. The trick is to convince your mind which one you're feeling. So I've already mentioned today that public speaking should do 3 things, ideally. So the first thing it should do, it should entertain. You guys should be having a good time. If I have entertained you tonight, then I have done my job. And if I have educated you, that's the second thing that I hope to do. If I educate you, then I hopefully have done a good job. And ideally, what I'd really like to do is to inspire you to work hard at your own public speaking skills. So the second myth that I'd like to dispel is that people often think, oh, I am too nervous, I'm too scared to speak publicly, this is a sign that I shouldn't. In my extensive research, and by research I mean Google, in my extensive research, okay, I have so far only found one person that has actually died from public speaking. Okay, only one person in history that has died from public speaking. His name was, bless his heart, William Henry Harrison. He was the 9th President of the United States. He insisted on giving the longest inaugural speech in history, 8,445 words. And standing in the wet and the cold, he was doing the whole manly thing, so he didn't wear his overcoat, didn't wear his hat, went to 2 balls, month later, caught pneumonia, died. That is the only instance I have ever heard of someone actually dying from public speaking. So, I ask you this now, what is the worst that could happen? Okay? The worst is that we'd all get to laugh at you. If I completely mess up tonight, hey, what's the worst that could happen? So, I know that this is a really nerve-wracking thing for you to do. And this is where the third myth comes in. There's a lot of people think that public speaking is not something they need to learn how to do. Hands up who in this room wants to run their own business, be an entrepreneur, or freelance? Let's see them. Hands right up. Okay. What do you do? What's the biggest thing that you're going to do with your own business?
Hustle.
Hustle. Thank you. Yeah. You're going to sell. You're going to hustle. It was on the board. Okay. Points of observation to the gentleman in the back. So you're going to hustle. You're going to sell. And how do you sell? How do you convince me that I want to buy whatever it is that you're buying? Okay? You're going to speak to me. You're going to speak publicly. You're going to speak with confidence. The best people that I have ever found to be public speakers are the people who are flat out of their minds crazy about what they do. Okay? I wouldn't see the point in starting a business unless you were crazy about what you did. If you've already started that business, then you can speak from that place of confidence. I used to work for Lush Cosmetics, you know, the soap shop on Union Street. Smells kind of crazy, you go inside, knocked backwards by the cloud of perfume. And when I first started there, you have 2 interviews. You have the first interview, it's nice and normal, it's safe, you ask your competency-based questions, then you come back in, and then you don't know what's going to happen the second time around. So I'm in there, I'm getting ready, about to have this interview, and then my boss says, right, let's go upstairs and sell. I haven't got the job yet. No idea what I'm doing. She brings me up onto the shop floor. It's Saturday lunchtime, Union Street. It's crazy. It's summertime. People are coming in droves. And she says, just pretend I'm the customer. It'll be fine. Panic, shock, horror. I'm selling publicly. And the experience, what I learned from that was that if I could sell to my boss, I could sell to anybody. I could sell to absolutely anybody. And every single instance that I did after that became easier, became better. And I was headhunted by HQ of Lush in London to become what they called a cosmetic warrior, where they wanted me to go and doctor the customer service in shops all across the country. That was an amazing experience, but it wouldn't have happened if I got myself out of my comfort zone. And the one thing that I would like you to think about was what stops us from getting out of our comfort zone? Who said that? What was it? Can you say it again?
Fear.
Fear, thank you. Right, so this is the thing that ties all these myths together. It's fear, and my very favorite definition of fear is false evidence appearing real. Okay? 80% of the things that we fear, that we worry about, will never actually come to pass. Okay? And in the face of fear, you can do one of two things. You can forget everything and run, also works quite nicely with the acronym, or you can face everything and rise. Tonight we're going to focus on how you can learn to do the latter. Thank you so much for your time.